What do you believe are some things outside of therapy that people can do to like maybe better their mental health?
I get emotional.
Yeah,
I get
understand.
emotional talking about it because, like, I can't always help everybody. You know, I wish I could.
Welcome back to the Life We Choose podcast. This is episode 6 with Nancy Nieves, who is a mental health social worker. We'll be talking about her career and maybe ways you can live a better life mentally. So, Nancy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here too.
Yeah.
So I see you have the item that we, of course, appreciate you for
I
bringing.
do.
So talk to me about your item.
Okay, so I brought a mirror. Okay, and as you know, you just mentioned I'm a therapist or mental health therapist. More specifically, I'm a social worker, a school social worker at that.
Yeah.
And the reason I brought a mirror is because therapy is about reflection, right? It's about seeing ourselves clearly, maybe for the first time in a really long time. And so, as a therapist, I don't give people answers, but I try to help them, right? I try to help hold up a mirror, right, to their thoughts, to their emotions, to their experiences. It's about awareness, right? Acceptance. It's about sometimes having to learn to love yourself again, right? Even when life is hard. And so that's why I brought a mirror. And on it, it says, "Today is a fresh start. I am enough exactly as I am. I am grateful for today and progress, not perfection," right?
Wow. Yeah.
So just a few affirmations to start your day to remember and remind you that you don't have to be perfect, right? You don't have to get everything right. You don't have to know everything. Just be you, right? Your best is enough. And sometimes you need people like me to kind of help guide you along. And that's okay. Even the therapist needs a therapist, you know? And so, so that's why I brought this mirror. And I'm so proud to be able to have it as a part of the bookshelves.
The bookshelves,
right?
yes.
Or the bookshelf.
Yeah.
I just think I think I thought really long and hard about what can I bring? What can I bring, right? Because when you told me, bring an item that shows or symbolizes what you do, I was like, oh my God, do I bring the stuffed animals with the little sad faces, the, emotions? Do I bring, some of the books that I use? Do I bring a sand tray? Like, what do I bring? But I felt like the mirror was the perfect thing, right? I looked in the mirror one morning and I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I do.
Wow.
You have little affirmations, and it's like, that's what I help people do, to see themselves maybe in a fresh way, in a different way.
Yeah.
Especially when a lot of times our life mirrors are cracked, right?
Yeah.
And we think that we're broken, and we think that, we can't get through things in life. But even if your mirrors are cracked or you feel like you're broken, it's okay. It's okay. So anyway, that's why I brought the mirror.
Yeah, I love the message behind that.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for bringing that in. So let's talk about your career. What got you into being a mental health social worker? Tell me about the journey from beginning to end, if you could.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, like most kids, I didn't know what I wanted to do. First of all, I knew I had to go to college, right? That was like the most natural progression for me, right? But coming from a Mexican family, a Latino family, a working class, I was the first one to go to college in my family. And so education wasn't really emphasized, right? It wasn't like my mom and dad were like, oh my gosh, what college are you going to go to? We got to do college tours. It just wasn't talked about. And I just applied to college. I was like, that's just the next natural step for me. Like, I have to do this, right?
Yeah.
And so I applied to colleges, didn't know what I wanted to do. But that summer or the summer before, I had visited a college campus, Oxford University, right?
Oxford, yeah.
Yeah, of Emory University, the original Emory campus.
Oh, nice.
And it was like a summer program for teenagers, and it was about, I don't know, it was just about different types of people and inclusion, and it was a great summer, and the campus was beautiful, and I loved it. And not knowing where I wanted to go, I was like, well, I'll just apply there, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did. And because I didn't really, not that I didn't have the support of my parents, I just think they just didn't care either way if I went or not, right? So
Yeah.
I had to take it on myself to say, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm going to apply to college. Notice I said college, not colleges, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
And so I applied to that one college, Oxford College of Emory University. And I was like, well, let's see what happens, because it's a private university. It's a hard university to get into, right? And I get the letter, and what? Like, I'm going to college, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have a clue what I was going to do. Like, I had no clue. I thought maybe, I think I'm going to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor, more specifically a pediatrician. I want to help families. I want to help
Yes.
their children. And then I got to college, and organic chemistry kicked my butt. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Biology was okay, but then I was like, I don't know. I don't quite know about this,
Yeah.
But I always knew I wanted to help people.
Yes.
So I finished at Oxford of Emory University, and I went on my junior year to Big Emory, is what we called it, to the main campus in Atlanta of Emory University. And it's a private university. It's so expensive. And I'm just taking classes just to take classes. Don't really have a major because, like, okay, I'm not going to be this pediatrician anymore because I don't know about this, right?
Yeah.
And then the more I thought about it, I was like, it's going to take forever, And frankly, my parents just didn't have the money to cover college, and I only had so much scholarship money. So I was like first generation to go to college in my family.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing.
when you go, you don't know anything. Nobody really tells you how to do it,
Yes. Understand.
And so I just knew I wanted to help people in some capacity. And so I had a friend tell me, Nancy, you would be perfect as a social worker. And I was like, social what? Like, social worker? What is that? Like, what is a social worker? And so they started describing what a social worker did, right? And I was like, oh my God, that's me. That's exactly what I want to do. That's exactly who I am. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
So that meant I had to transfer schools. Again, like, oh my gosh, how do I do this, right? But I was fortunate enough that I had people come into my life at just the right times to guide me and help me. And so I transferred to the University of Georgia, go Dogs. And it was like my senior year, my junior year. I kind of had to make up some classes. Fortunately, a lot of my classes carried over. I applied to the social work department, and I ended up getting my bachelor's in social work.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, what else? What's next, right? So the next natural progression for me was I need to get my master's. So I got my master's at the University of Georgia. And I took one specific class in school social work. And when that was over, our teacher kept saying, don't forget to apply for the certificate. Don't forget to, it's like, okay, whatever, let me apply for whatever the certificate is, right? And a lot of people didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then later on, once I graduated with my master's, my first job was working for the Department of Children and Families, right, in Athens, Clark County, Georgia. And it was a great job. But it was as a volunteer coordinator, which meant that my job was to find volunteers to come into the agency and volunteer some capacity.
Yeah.
So one of the big things that I would do is organize the angel tree, so that all of our foster children, and would try to find sponsors for all of our foster children every year. And so that was like my big event, right, for that.
Yeah.
But I would always because I was the only Spanish speaker,
Yeah.
people would always come to me from the CPS department, Children Protective Services. And, could she help us with this? Could she help us with that? And I was like, I like this. And so then I applied to be a part of that department. And I did that for several years. It was very eye-opening, but I loved it. But then I was like, it's time for something new. Let me start. Well, what really happened was I met my husband.
Yeah.
I met my husband.
Changed a lot.
I met my husband, and he was like, you need to move, find another job, come closer or whatever. So I did. And there was an opening for a school social worker in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, let me apply. What do you need to apply? You need to have, a degree in social work. You need to be to have the teacher endorsement from the state, which was that certificate that my teacher said you need to have in case you ever want to get a job in the schools. Yeah. So I'm glad I listened to her, because if I hadn't applied for it and had it in my back pocket ready to go, I don't know if I would have been bit by the school social work bug, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And so I go in, I apply, and I was interviewed, and they're like, on the spot, you got the job, do you want it? And I was like, yes. And so began my life as a school social worker.
Yeah.
And I've loved it ever since. I worked in Marietta City Schools for a while. And then we moved to this part of the country, Kentucky, but really like the Kentucky-Tennessee line.
Yeah.
And I worked for Nashville Public Schools, Metro Nashville Public Schools.
Oh, nice.
As a school social worker there. And then again, because of the husband, right? His job moved him this way to Memphis. And so I applied with Shelby County Schools, and I've been here ever since, right?
Yeah.
And so I work with, I'm currently, right, working with Memphis Shelby County Schools Mental Health Center. And I think that a lot of people do not know. You were a student with Memphis Shelby County Schools. Did you know that we have our own mental health center?
I didn't know that, yeah.
Right? And did you know that the mental health center has been around for 50 plus years?
No, they don't really talk about it.
I know, right? But there is a school social worker or school psychologist. There's a mental health clinician in every school in Shelby County. And so we are a licensed mental health center through the state of Tennessee. So it's just like going to any other mental health provider in the community, except you have the luxury as a student of Shelby County Schools, Memphis Shelby County Schools, to have that service provided to you and your family for free during school hours.
Yes.
So
yes.
that eliminates the barrier of I don't have transportation to get mental health services. I don't have the money, right? Some of the barriers that we hear from a lot of our families. And so here, we don't do a lot of the traditional social work that you would think of, like so-and-so needs glasses, or so-and-so needs food, or, a lot of that, or case management, because we're very clinical. So we provide individual counseling, group counseling, but it's intensive, right? Because we're very clinical. And so I think that's like, I've never worked in a school system that has its own mental health center attached to it. Yeah. And I think more people need to know that that resource is available to you. It's available to your children for free.
Yes, absolutely.
All of our clinicians are master's level and above. So, I mean, a lot of us have our clinical license, so we're very well prepared, and we're ready to help in whatever capacity that we can. So
absolutely, yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I love it. I love my job.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the most rewarding part of your job when you're working with kids, maybe adults or things like that?
I think the most rewarding part for me is just seeing that moment where like things click for a student, right? Like I mentioned earlier, like you don't have to be perfect. You just be you, that when a child, a teenager, whomever feels like they're not enough, or they feel broken, or there's just been through so much, that when they realize like it's okay and I have help, and they learn the skills to cope with life, because unfortunately life is going to keep lifing, and it's not always going to be easy. And if you don't have the skills to deal with it, to know how to deal with just the hard stuff, it's going to be even harder. And so for me, the most rewarding parts is when it clicks, when they realize like, hey, I have tools that I've learned in therapy that I can use not just now, but like throughout my entire life. Just, I don't know, just when I see change, especially when I see kids that, so we deal with a lot of trauma. Yeah. Right? Especially being Memphis, we have a lot of trauma. And so just to see kids who just, go from being sad and crying and hopeless, and you begin to see that glimmer, like, this is okay. I'm going to be okay. Like that to me is worth it. When they come, Miss Nancy, like, I know I'm going to be okay. Like, I know things are going to be okay. That's what makes it worth it to me. Wow. I don't want you to be perfect. Nobody expects you to be perfect. But the fact that I'm doing my best, I'm trying, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm open to learning how to do things a different way, because the way I've been doing it hasn't been working for me. I want to be that helper, that person in their life that helps them, that guides them, right? Yes. So, I do the whole touchy-feely clinical, like, let's talk about this, and how does that make you feel? But, I'd like to think that I go a little bit further than that, and just like, let me help you through this. Let's talk about college, right? Yes. You're Latino, you're first generation. Okay, well, let's talk about, what do you want to do? How do we get there? Yes. Because as I mentioned earlier, I didn't have anybody helping me. I didn't have a clue. And so any opportunity that I have to just kind of, okay, come on. You learned whatever you needed to learn about dealing with your feelings and your emotions, but now let's learn life skills too.
It's about the future, building up the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very nice. Very good. I feel like definitely, like you said, in Memphis, it's very hard for kids. They go through trauma at an early age. And if they don't get that help, it could lead to something really bad. So it's important that they get those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you believe people should know when they're like, I'm going through some things, but I can toughen it out. I'll be okay. Things like that. What do you like to tell those people when they try to, put up shield?
Yeah, I think a lot of people try to be really strong and I can handle it myself, right? It's going to, I know what to do, but it's okay to ask for help, right? It's okay to ask for help. And if that one person says, sorry, I can't help you, then you go to the next person and you ask for help until somebody helps you. You're not alone. You're not alone in any of this. Like, you need help, ask for it. There's so many people that are willing to help you. And even if they can't like fully help you with what you need, they can probably lead you to somebody who can, right? Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for help. I think so many of us feel like nobody's going to understand me. No, my problem is so different from what somebody else may be dealing with. But that's not necessarily true. We're all dealing with life. We're all dealing with things, and it's okay to ask for help. I think a lot of times we grow up learning, like, don't ask for help. Don't tell people your problems. They're not going to understand. But I think you'll be surprised by people. They do get it.
Yes.
They do get it. Ask for help. Don't be afraid. Ask for help.
So once they get through that step of like asking for help, you think from there on, like, it's a little bit more easy to
I think
go
when
through
people feel supported, they feel like they can get through things, right?
Yeah.
I think when people know that, okay, Sergio, I can call you. I know you got my back, even if it's just you listening to me vent. Sometimes that's all people need, right?
Yeah.
Just to talk it out. Somebody to listen. Somebody just to care.
Yes.
Right? Just to
Absolutely.
feel like you're being heard, to feel like somebody cares enough about me to sit here, and talk to me and listen to me.
Absolutely. It's very important. I want to get to like the other side. Maybe what's the most difficult part of being like a therapist?
I know, right? So a lot of times we say that my magic wand is broken, right? And I wish I had a magic wand. Like, I'm a helper.
Yeah.
I want to make it better. Yes. Right? I get emotional.
Yeah.
I get emotional talking about it because, like, I can't always help everybody. I wish I could. But to me, that's the hardest part about the job. When I know someone is struggling, when I know someone is hurting, and I've done my best to try to help, but maybe it just isn't enough, or the person isn't responding to the help, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, I think that's the worst part for me, like feeling helpless. Right? I'm supposed to help you and I can't help you. And so to me, that's the worst part. Like, not knowing how to help or having exhausted all the ways in which I think, I could help you. That's the hardest part. And I know that I won't be able to reach everybody. I know that I won't be able to help everybody. And so we talked about the things that make the job rewarding, right? So that's why it's so awesome when you do have all those success stories and you do see that you've made a difference and you've helped somebody. But yeah, the hardest part is not or feeling like I didn't help somebody,
Yeah.
And maybe that's my own personal thing. Like, maybe I did help the person, right?
Yeah.
And that's maybe just my own thing that I feel like maybe I didn't, I should see my therapist about that.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
I understand.
Yeah.
So I was actually going to ask you about that. What does a therapist do when they're feeling down? How do they go through,
So
that hurt?
we all need somebody to talk to, right? Like I know I joked about seeing my therapist. I don't have a therapist. I don't see a therapist, but I do have an amazing group of friends that I can pick up the phone and call, and they know what I'm going through, right? And they know because they do the same thing I do, right? And so today, actually, in our professional development, we talked about compassion fatigue, right? And burnout. And so it's important for me to know that I have friends and coworkers that understand that know what I'm going through, what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
And so I know who I can pick up the phone and call or text. And so that's my outlet to just kind of vent and let it out, right? And of course, there's some of us that even the therapist needs the therapist, right? There's a lot of us that do go to our own therapist and talk things out,
Yeah.
because we're helpers. We're helping you. We're helping you. Like, who's going to help the helper?
Exactly. Yes.
And so we don't want to get burnt out. We don't want to experience that compassion fatigue. And so it's important for us to see our therapists, to see our friends, to have those things that self-care things that we might do to take care of ourselves, because I have to take care of all your children. And if I'm not okay, I'm not going to be able to help the person in front of me.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important.
I gotcha. Yeah. What do you believe are some things outside of therapy that people can do to like maybe better their mental health?
Okay, so like nature is amazing, right? Just getting out in nature, exercising, going for a walk, journaling, writing out your feelings, your emotions. I always like to tell people, especially people who might be suffering from depression or maybe even anxiety, like to keep a gratitude journal, right? Because it's all about perspective, right? And so if we're constantly focused on all the things that we feel are going wrong in our life, when we take a few minutes at the end of the day to write down all the things that we were grateful for, right? Something happens. Something happens to our minds. Something happens in our brains where like chemicals just start, neurons start going off. Things start to get rewired. And, all of a sudden now your perspective or your focus isn't on, look at all the things that went bad, but now it's like, look at all the things that went right. So like gratitude journals, said exercise, walking, jogging, going to a cafe and having a coffee to yourself. I know a lot of times on some days I'll get up extra early and go have breakfast somewhere before I go to my school. And it's like that's my time for me to just kind of regain my focus and like get ready for the day and go about my day, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's lots of things that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've been to 3 different states. You worked at 3 different states, right?
Yeah.
So is there anything else that you're looking forward to the future? Will you stay in Memphis? Will you go to somewhere else?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right now, the plan is just to stay here for now, right? I mean, retirement isn't too far in the future. So I don't know. I just plan to, when my husband retires in about 5 years, maybe I'll early retire. And we've always talked about just traveling the world and, living in Italy for a month and living in Germany, and let's go to Mexico and live there for a few months, and just kind of taking time to see the world and learn about other cultures and other people. And, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I also plan to open up my own private practice. That's kind of already in the works.
Yes.
I named it Ember and Blossom.
Oh, that's a nice
Counseling.
name.
Yeah. Ember, a little fire sometimes is what's left over, right? From like trauma to being able to bloom again and grow after trauma. 'Cause a lot of people ask me, who's Ember and who's Blossom? And I'm like, oh, that's not why I called it that.
Yeah.
But it's okay because I want people to ask me, right? I want to be able to tell them, hey, from the ashes, you can rise again and bloom, right? From all your trauma, all the things that you've been through, you can grow again. It's okay. And so I'll help you through that. So I took my test to become a licensed clinical social worker. And so that gives me the ability to be able to see people in private practice. And so that's all still in the beginning stages. But I'm looking forward to having clients and people to see me. I think there's a really big gap in mental health services for the Latino community. I think it's still a very taboo topic amongst our community, oh, no estoy loca, I'm not crazy. Why do I need to go see a therapist? But you don't have to be crazy to see a therapist. You can be absolutely, completely normal. And so I want to be able to bridge that gap in our community and make it affordable for them. Mental health services shouldn't be a privilege, right? It shouldn't be. It should be a right. It should be something that everybody can afford. Because we need it. We all need it. And so, that's kind of what I have in the plans. My own private practice, traveling the world.
Absolutely, yes.
I love to travel. So, I got my favorite spots, I want to go back to.
It's good. Like a little bucket list you got?
No. Well, I want to refill my bucket with some of the places I've seen and go to other places. Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound pretty fun.
Definitely, yeah.
What are some of the challenges that comes with having your own private Are they are people working under you, or are they just seeing you only, or how does that work?
So as a licensed clinical social worker, I'm my own boss.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And so I would see, in the future, hopefully, just whoever needed mental health services. I think I mostly want to focus on children and adolescents because that's what I do in my day to day. But I think I also want to focus on women who have been survivors of domestic violence. I was a counselor before at a local agency here in town that catered to, people who were victims of domestic violence. And so I was their bilingual therapist there. And so I loved working with that population. Yes. There was men too. Okay, domestic violence affects men just as much as it does women. Women a little more, but I also saw men. But I mostly loved working with the women. And you talked earlier about what do you love about your job, and just seeing the transformation from day one when they came into my office to, a year later, 2 years later, and they walk in and it's a completely different person, And so I really loved that. And so I want to focus on that as well, I think. Yeah.
Yes, that's a very, very good topic to want to help people with. Absolutely. If you were to give advice to people who want to get into that career, what would you give them? What would you tell them?
So social work or
for mental health, social work? Yeah.
Okay. So get your degree in social work, obviously. if you want to be a school social worker, most school systems require you to have at least a master's degree. And definitely that one class in school social work when you're going through your college program so that you can get certified specifically as a school social worker. And so a lot of people want to get into school social work and they're like, well, where's your certificate? And did you take the class? And so be sure you take the class. And even if you think that that's not something that you want to do, just to be able to have it in your back pocket is really nice. Most people, like I say, get bit by the school social work bug because you work school hours, you get the same time off, you get your summers off.
Yeah.
And so
nice.
if you have a family, it's a really good schedule to have, because you can still spend that time with your kids. And aside from that, if you want to become a licensed clinical social worker, you must take your test for your licensed master social worker, LMSW. And it's a lot to get to the licensed clinical part. You have to have like 3,000 like face-to-face clinical hours, and you have to have supervision, like individual supervision, and you have to have like supervision with a group of your peers.
Yes.
And so once you get all of that out of the way, you got to take the test. And so the test can be challenging.
Yeah.
Not because it's hard per se, but the questions on the test, a lot of times what you would do in reality may not exactly match up with what the ethics say that we should do, right? So it's like, oh my gosh. The funniest thing to me was when I was studying for my test, all the questions that I would get wrong were related to school social work.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm a terrible school social worker. I'm doing everything wrong. But, it's sometimes what you do in the real world doesn't necessarily like match with what, our code of ethics says. And so I try as much as possible to follow my code of ethics, and what we're supposed to do as social workers and what we're supposed to do as school social workers. And so anytime I feel like I have like an ethical dilemma or something like, well, what is this, what does the code of ethics say? So try to keep me out of trouble that way.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think something that you said that kind of made me think about it a little bit, how you said, you wanted to help people. And you said that you were thinking about maybe becoming a doctor, this and that.
Yeah.
But mental health workers and like therapists are very important when it comes to helping people as well. So
absolutely, So like when my friend was telling me like this is what a social worker does, I was like, that is me to a T. Like I'm already doing that, right? Like I didn't know there was a name attached to it. I'm a social worker, let me go and get this degree. Because I'm a people helper, I want to help people. And I always knew that. I always knew I wanted to help people in some capacity. But I never knew how. I thought, well, maybe being a doctor's the way to do it, right? And then, too, the more I thought about it, I was like, I can't bring myself to tell people, I can't help your child. They're dying or, I'm so sorry. I can't. So I was like, oh, maybe not. Like, I don't want to be that person.
Yeah, that would be more of the harder part of that job.
Yeah, so I was like, no.
Yeah.
But I find this job very fulfilling.
That's good.
I've met so many wonderful people that I've worked with, colleagues and just professionals and people like that. So I love it.
That's great. Yeah.
So if you're a people person and you want to help people, you should look into social work.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there any last words you'd like to give the viewers? Maybe things that they could look forward to from you and things of that nature.
I don't know. I like to say that I'm always up to something. I like to help out in the community as much as I can. I know this September, I think it's September 18th or 13th. I can't quite remember the specific date, but we're holding our annual Suicide Prevention Expo. And so you should be getting information about that through your schools. And so it's a really great opportunity to come and learn about such an important topic with our kids, right? And that's suicide prevention and what to look for and what you can do. So there's that through the school system. Also, coming up in October, towards the end of October, we're holding our first annual trauma conference at the Hilton off of Poplar. And so that's something that will be open to really anybody, especially any mental health professional in the community. So if you're a mental health professional, be on the lookout for information about our trauma conference coming up. And so, I don't know, I'll be around in the schools. I'm the only Spanish-speaking school social worker in the department, and I have been since I arrived. And so I'm always being stopped by people in the community or Latino people in the community asking me, questions, and I never tell them, "Oh no, that's not my school. I can't help you."
Yeah.
I always help.
Yes.
Always. I had people calling me over the summer. I don't know how they got my personal number. I don't know how they got it, but I don't know how to get my child to the Learning Academy or the summer school, or okay, well, what's your child's name and what school, and let me call you back, and so like I said earlier, ask for help.
Yes.
I'm here. You see my face. My name is Nancy Nieves. I'm always willing to help, and I always will help. And if I can't, I will find somebody to help you.
Yes, absolutely. You're a wonderful person. Thank you so
you.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Thank you all for watching. This is episode 6. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.